Basic Education Minister Siviwe Gwarube says they're ready to administer the 2024 National Senior Certificate exams. Gwarube was briefing the media on preparations, and Newzroom Afrika's Veronica Mahwadi was there and now joins us live. Veronica, good to catch up with you this afternoon. That number is sitting a little over 882,000 learners that are starting their matric tomorrow. Just how ready is the Department of Basic Education?
Well, I can tell you, Hugo, that the Basic Education Department has a mammoth task ahead of it. Just hours to go until, of course, we sit down for that first matric paper that will be taking place from tomorrow up until November. But according to the minister, they are up for the task. And I'm going to speak to her now. In fact, I'm joined by the minister just to get a sense of that state of readiness. We heard the numbers, we heard the preparations. But I think from you, Minister, for you personally, I mean, this is the first National Senior Certificate exam that you'll be rolling out in this new portfolio. Just walk us through the preparations.
Look, firstly, I mean, I think one of the things that I have been quite inspired by is just how really prepared the DBE team is. Of course, it's a massive undertaking. The only thing that compares really to the magnitude of this logistical undertaking is really the elections. And so it's a massive undertaking. We have just over 800,000 learners who will be sitting for the NSC matric exams. And there are various elements to it. We have to look at security. We've got to look at things like inclement weather. We've got to look at ensuring that learners are prepared. So the way that we look at and the way that we assess preparedness really is, on the one side, we look at whether the system is ready to roll out. As you heard from the team, there's a logistical chain that needs to be followed. Number two, also I think, which is absolutely critical, is making sure that learners have actually absorbed the curriculum, because that's how then they perform, and they perform well. So bringing these two systems together becomes very, very important. And I'm quite confident that we are ready, and we are officially ready to roll it out tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes a good test, because that is the first, not only the first exam, but that's the exam that all the learners will be writing. And so it becomes a good test, stress test of the system.
Absolutely. And I think the big conversation often when we get here for many of the South Africans that will be watching is the integrity of the National Senior Certificate. Just walk us through the processes to uphold the integrity of such a crucial piece of paper, if I may say.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, that's why we taking firstly security very seriously. So where papers are stored, how papers are transported to examination centers, we're taking all of that absolutely seriously. We are in collaboration with the provincial JOCs and the national JOCs teams. This is all because we want to make sure that the integrity is protected. But we've also emphasized, and we've reorientated the obligation of making sure that there's no cheating or copying away just from teachers and away from just it being about a punitive thing, to say, well, learners must take personal accountability. They need to pledge that they are not going to be cheating. This has profound impact on your future if you are found to be so. And we are not going to tolerate that. We are watching the process hawkishly, and we've had systems, and we have systems in place to make sure that each and every single paper has a particular security marker, so that if people are saying here are our papers, we know what our papers are, which ones they are, and there are specific things that are embedded in those papers that allow us to be able to track them. So we are ready, and these are some of the sort of security measures that we've put in place.
Yeah. And of course, as a department, you've done all you can in terms of the logistics and the security, but the real test is, of course, for the pupils that will be sitting down tomorrow. Yeah. It just so happens that we're starting this exam period as we're also in Mental Health Month. I mean, any words of encouragement to the matric pupils as well as they prepare for this?
And you will recall that the class of 2024 were in grade 8 in 2020, and in fact, so they were really hugely impacted by the pandemic, COVID-19. And so that's why, as a department, there's a lot of work that may not be necessarily our core business, but that we have to really make sure that we respond to. Things like ensuring that there's been emotional support to learners, during the pandemic, and these are things that we don't lose sight of, because children and learners who are in school, they are not isolated from the very things that they in their community. They are truly the products of their communities. And so I want to encourage our learners to say, take regular breaks, sleep well, do not engage in social media. It's too much of a distraction. Use this period, study hard, because I promise you this is the key to the rest of your future.
Thank you very much for your time, Minister, as well, and for this briefing, of course, as we prepare ourselves for the 2024 National Senior Certificate Exam. You'd know, of course, Hugo, that last year we obtained as a country an 82.9% matric pass rate. This was one of the highest pass rates in South Africa's democracy. And we were speaking earlier to the minister where we asked her the question to say, what is the target for this cohort, for these candidates that will be sitting? And the minister made quite a clear point there to say it's not necessarily about the pass rate, but rather a focus on strengthening the education system as a whole. You'd know the weight, Hugo, of this paper, of a national senior certificate. It is really that moment of 12 years of going through school, grueling years of, education and schooling that really lines up until this moment. And so from the department side, they're saying that there are already additional monitors have been added to some of the high-risk centers. In fact, we got a number of over 900 of those 9-risk centers that have been identified for various reasons. This includes the fact that some of them will be rolling out these examinations for the first time. Others were picked up having consistent irregularities. But from the department side, they say that they're already. But of course, this will only be seen and tested when matric pupils sit down for the test for that period of the exams. And of course, as well, the big call is for community members as well to support, families as well to support. And I think also just the many sectors that are involved in the lives of school children. This is transport as well. This is the provincial education system. So a mammoth task ahead, but we will be watching as well the developments throughout.